Hey, it's Randy. Hi. We're coming live to you today from Trilogy Event Design, located in Hatboro, Pennsylvania. It's still light outside and it's 8 o'clock. I'm so excited. I'm so tired of it being dark and gloomy and rainy and cold. So this is a sign that the weather is getting nice. Yesterday was so beautiful. Today was supposed to rain and I didn't see any of that, so I'm really happy. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna give some time for people to start to jump in live. I know that I just started a couple seconds ago, so it's not even showing up in anybody's feed yet. So we're gonna wait a little bit. I'm gonna chatter away. My ankles are working better this time than last week, so I'm super happy. The lighting is working for me and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to have a chat today, and we're going to talk about some ideas for planning your wedding or your special event. I specialize in fun social events. I don't like boring, stuffy, corporate things that are not like, I don't know, there's no emotional attachment to it. So corporate events are not necessarily my thing unless there's some type of celebration. But I love weddings, I love birthdays, anniversaries, sweet 16s, bar and bat mitzvahs, those milestone events like that. Anniversary parties are super special, especially when it's my past wedding clients that are celebrating their anniversary again with me. I love that too. It was so fun. So yeah, tune in. Ask your questions. When you come on, comment down here below so that I can see that you're there and I'll give you a shout out. But I like to kind of see who's here. So let me know down there. Say, hey Randy, I'm here, so that I can say hi back. A little bit about me. I am Randy Martin from Trilogy Event Design. I am the chief event planner and owner of Trilogy Event Design, located in Hatboro, Pennsylvania. I plan weddings and social events in the tri-state area. So for me, that would be Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. I'm also the presentation coordinator for the bridal event by Boucher Productions. So for half of the year, on any given Sunday, it's like I'm a football player, right? On any given Sunday, you can find me on a stage somewhere in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, speaking to audiences of engaged couples, their mothers, their bridal parties, giving tips all about planning a wedding, and also giving away fabulous prizes. Those are really fun to do. I'm also a teacher, so I am an adjunct professor at Temple University in Ambler, Pennsylvania, where I teach aspiring wedding planners how to do all the things that I do. So that usually happens in the fall and spring semesters. I'm also a mom to 2 fabulous kids. So Ryan and Roman are my sweethearts. And hopefully they are not going to find out that I said this and start telling me how corny I am. All right, so I'll just start talking a little bit about some wedding stuff, some party stuff, and then if you have questions, feel free to ask your questions so that I'm actually answering the things that you want to know about and not just the things that I had in my mind. So what I would love to talk about today are ways that we can make your special event or your wedding a little bit different than the last one you were attending. So if you have friends who are getting married or friends who are celebrating milestone events just like you are, you really don't want your event to be exactly the same as theirs, and you're maybe struggling to find some unique spins on some old traditions or just new trendy things that are coming up that your friends didn't think about or didn't know about, or weren't necessarily interested in, but you are. So there's a lot of things that you can do with lighting. There's uplighting. So the uplighting is when you have the light shining on the wall around the room and it gives a specific glow of color. So let's just say that your colors for your event are purple and white. So you can have all of your linens and chairs and maybe even lounge furniture white, And then the lighting is purple, so it gives a purple hue to everything, and it's a very nice accent. So those are uplights. There's also pin spotting. So have you ever been to an event where it looks like the centerpieces are glowing? So pin spotting are little lights that are on the ceiling that actually are kind of like spotlights, but they only highlight the thing that they're aimed towards. So lots of times you will see very elegant, romantic venues that are set up where it's, you know, the scene is just a glow of centerpieces. There may be some candles on the tables with the flowers, but the flowers actually look like they're glowing. That's the pin spot. So you don't actually like see spotlights all over the place, but you just say, wow, the centerpiece is lit. Those are pin spots. There's also something that is called a gobo, G-O-B-O. The gobo is where you'll find like the couple's name on the dance floor, or a monogram or something like that, that is also a light, but there's a metal plate that has the design on it that goes over a spotlight, and then when it's projected onto the floor or the wall, it actually says something. So that's called a gobo, G-O-B-O. All right, so those are some ways that you can use lighting to create a special effect for your wedding. Again, things that some people may not have wanted to invest in, or didn't think about, didn't know that they could do for their event that will make yours stand out a little bit. I mentioned the centerpieces. You can also do things that are not your typical centerpiece, like it's not just a flower in a vase. So maybe you do a candlescape, or you do something that is a little bit more rustic. Maybe you do a collection of potted succulents. Or for one of my past events, we did a tropical themed birthday party where there were actually little sandboxes that were made with tropical flowers, like just in one corner, and a candle all inside the sandbox. You can also use framed photos and things like that to kind of create a centerpiece that is not your typical, like I said, flower in a vase. Feathers, so you've probably seen like the Eiffel Tower glass that comes up, and then you have the plumes of feathers that come up. Those never seem to go out of style. People always love to have those, especially for an event that is to celebrate a woman, because there's just some sense of sophistication that goes along with, you know, the feather plumes. Let's talk about entertainment. So entertainment is definitely a way to make your event stand out and be different than somebody else's. So when we think about party entertainment or wedding entertainment, right away people think of a DJ. So yes, DJs are popular, DJs are fun. DJs are not always that inexpensive, depending on the DJ that you're hiring and their level of experience. So keep that in mind too. Like, the price should be in line with their years of experience and the amount of events that they've done and the different types of music that they can play. Sometimes a DJ also comes along with a live band. So let me switch that up. It's the band that comes along with a DJ. The DJ plays during breaks, but the band performs live. A lot of times they're cover bands, so they'll play popular music by other artists. But maybe you happen to know a band that plays original music that you happen to like. You've been following this band for a long time, and you have them come to your special event or your wedding to perform, because that is actually something that you and your significant other happen to enjoy spending time, like going to these band performances. So of course you're going to invite this band specifically to perform for you. There's also other types of entertainment. So I got a request from someone for a birthday party to have a magician. So you can have a magician, not necessarily for children. That could actually be for an adult party. So they will customize their performance for the audience. I also was asked about a contortionist, and I've seen like the Cirque du Soleil style of acrobatics performed at events. So those are some other things to think about as far as entertainment. It doesn't have to be just musical entertainment. It could be a performance, and it doesn't have to be throughout the entire event. It could be for a half an hour, just at a special moment. You could also consider some ethnic performance. So if you are trying to celebrate a specific ethnicity, then you could have entertainers that either dance or play music or some other type of performance that would represent that tradition. So I've seen Chinese dragon dancers, I've seen African drummers, I've seen, one time for an event, it was Mardi Gras, and it happened to also be Black History Month. So for this event, we had a New Orleans style, kind of like a parade with all the horns and the brass instruments leading the parade line down to the next part of the event. So that was just one touch of entertainment that kind of highlighted what was to come next. So there's all different types of entertainment. Think outside of the box. You don't have to stick with just your typical DJ. All right. So I see that there's a couple people here. Please say hi. Comment below so that I can see who's here. Tell me your name. Say hi, Randy, and I'll give you a shout out. And also ask your questions. So we're talking about weddings and special events. I'm just talking about some things that you could do that would be able to make your event a little bit different, stand out from the last one that you attended, and really give your guests something to talk about later. So that's like the most awesome part of having a special event, is when your friends and family are talking about it for weeks and months after, because they can't believe how fabulous it was. So those are just some things that I'm throwing out. But if you have questions that you want advice on, comment below, ask your question. When I see it pop up, I'll speak to it. I'll kind of just stop whatever I'm talking about and answer your question or comment. But for right now, just comment below, say hi, so that I know who I'm talking to. So some other things that people have been using, Rachel Ortiz, hello, how are you? March of 2019, so that's only 9 months away. I hope that you've started some planning so far. Yeah, it seems like 2019 should be far, far away, but time is flying. It's already the middle of June, so what have you been doing so far? I hope that you have your venue. I'm pretty sure you have your venue because you have your date. But if there's anything that you are kind of stuck on or have questions about, now is a great time to ask. Okay, so while we're waiting for that question to come up, or for anybody else to kind of say hey and let me give you a shout out, let's talk about flower walls. That has been like a big trend this year. And also last year. So flower walls have evolved. The first time that I saw a flower wall, I thought that it was the most unique thing, and it was actually being used as a photo booth backdrop, which I thought was gorgeous, and you know, it was really incredible to be used as a photo booth backdrop. It was more of the greenery, like a grassy boxwood kind of backdrop, and then it had flowers at the top of it that were framing out the, like where you stood, and it kind of had flowers around you. It was very, very pretty, but that was maybe 2 or 3 years ago that I saw that one. Since then, I've seen gorgeous silk flower walls. They are like in either a pale pink or white, and sometimes even like bold red, depending on the colors of the event. So the silk flower walls became very popular within the last year. I've also seen paper flower walls, and you've probably seen those too, with the giant pieces of paper that are forming flowers, and they're either in like a cascade or they cover the entire wall, and they could be used behind a sweetheart table, or also as a photo backdrop, like a selfie station, maybe not necessarily for a photo booth. They could be used for other events, like what we would normally use, like a step and repeat when people come down a red carpet and they, like the celebrities do with the backdrop that kind of names the event that they're at, a lot of people are using that type of thing in the paper flower wall style. Okay, so let me get back to Rachel. Rachel you have your photographer and your videographer booked. Awesome. You're really doing something small and intimate, about 30 to 40 guests. I love that. I really do love that. The reason why I love it is because you'll get a chance to actually talk to everybody who comes to your wedding. When you have 200, 250 guests, you really don't have enough time to spend with each of your guests. So if you're doing the like the Justice of the Peace civil ceremony, that's usually pretty short and sweet, and then you go out together to a restaurant and, you know, have a great time with those that are nearest and dearest to you. I think it's awesome. Good luck. Congratulations. So I'm going to do something that's a little bit corny. I think it's fabulous, but you might think it's corny. But I always like to say best wishes and unicorn kisses. So, mwah. I'm a unicorn, in case you didn't know. All right, so continue to post questions. Give me a heads up of who's here. Kind of just say hey. And again, I will answer all of your questions. So Rachel, if you still have questions about ways that you can pull this off so that it still is an experience for you and your guests, feel free to ask those questions. All right, so we were talking about the flower walls and the silk and then paper. And then, of course, there are real flower walls that are super duper expensive, but if you have that budget, go for it. There's also a new trend, kind of along the same concept, but it's a living bar. So your bar has the greenery or the flowers kind of in the walls of the bar. So it's not on the top where your drinks will be served, but it's on the walls that go around. A lot of times they're using like climbing ivy or some other type of foliage, so it's green, and then they'll have like a lattice work in front, so it kind of has this look with the greenery peeking through the holes. It's kind of cool. It really does look very pretty, and that could be like one wow factor that you add to your event that other people have never seen before, and you know, that'll be like their thing to talk about for a long time. You can also use, since I'm talking about flowers and plants and stuff like that, you can use, if you're going to have an outdoor ceremony, you can use potted plants down your aisle. So that way you're adding some pops of color and you are anchoring those things that are on the aisle so that the wind doesn't knock them over or people walking by can't really mess up your aisle decor. So often when you have an outdoor ceremony and let's say you are setting up chairs on grass, depending on how solid the ground is, the chairs may wobble a little bit when people sit in them, or when you're walking down the aisle, you may knock things over. So like glass vases are kind of not sturdy enough to sit on grass outside. They're better on concrete. So if the grass is where you're going to be walking, a potted plant will be a lot heavier and sturdier and still offer some decor. So you wouldn't have to use the potted plant plus hang something from the chairs, because whatever is growing out of the pot will be sufficient. So that's another idea of something that you could do that's a little bit different, and depending on like the level of formality for your wedding, if it's going to be a casual wedding because it's outdoors or something like that, that would be perfect. All right, so I'm seeing that more people are joining. Like I was saying before, please give a shout out to me and I'll give a shout out back to you. Just say hey in the comments below. Let me back up a little bit and tell you who I am in case you're new and don't know me. I am Randy Martin. I am the Chief Event Planner at Trilogy Event Design. I'm also the Presentation Coordinator and Stage Personality for the Bridal Event by Boucher Productions. So some people who are following me right now may have seen me at a bridal show, or you may have heard about me from, you know, Instagram and Facebook and things like that. Hey Keith, how are you? That's my boy. What's up? I hope you have some questions to ask. Like you have a birthday party coming up or something like that, and you just want to ask me some professional questions about celebrating a birthday. I know you have some grandchildren and you have children that are the marrying age, so hopefully, you know, you give your girl a shout. Rachel has another question. So since your wedding is so simple with it being at a courthouse and dinner, what can you do to make sure you make it extra special? You don't want it to feel like a regular day. Okay, so let me start with that. I'm just going to stop there because I do see that there's more to your question, but let me stop with that. So if you can get like a private room at a restaurant for your celebration, then you can decorate that a little bit so you don't have to just go with what the restaurant looks like. Maybe you can add some pretty centerpieces. Maybe you'll do family style dining instead of having everybody sit at separate tables. So you can do maybe one long continuous centerpiece down the center of the table, or if you do have separate tables, then you can do something that is personalized for your wedding as a centerpiece. Some other things that you might be able to do if you have the private space is maybe even decorate the chairs. So you can get maybe chair sashes to tie on. I don't really love seat covers, like the chair covers, that because they slide and when people get up, they kind of like, they're twisted around and stuff. But if you get some maybe chair sashes, or they have these, depending on the type of chair, they have these little things that just go over the top, like kind of like a sleeve goes over the top, so it's really easy to put on and take off. Those might be some good options just to personalize it a little bit and make it extra special. Not really sure what you can do at a courthouse to personalize it other than maybe having a really beautiful bouquet, or you know, your groom or significant other also has some pretty flower. But I wouldn't focus so much on the ceremony because it's so short. The dinner part of it is going to be where more attention can be paid because you'll be there for a longer time. Also, if you're able to bring in some music, you can have like your special touch there with the music that plays during dinner. I hope that was helpful. Wait, let me click here and see what the rest of it said. Yeah, you want it to be an absolutely perfect day. Of course you do. It's your wedding day, and hopefully it's going to be the only time that this happens, right? So you definitely want it to be extra special, but think about the experience. So you want it to be a fabulous experience for your guests as well as for you. So the menu that you choose, the drinks that you choose, all of that kind of stuff is really how you're going to make it extra special. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you if that was good for you, or if you have a follow-up. So let's continue a little bit more. We're going to talk about lounge furniture. So renting lounge furniture actually adds a different vibe to your party. Oh, Rachel said yes. You're welcome, sweetheart. So yeah, renting lounge furniture definitely adds a special vibe to your event. I don't know if you saw the pictures that are posted on our Facebook page from just this past Saturday, but we rented love seats and coffee tables to kind of frame out the dance floor for this birthday party. It was a surprise 50th birthday party. So we had a band, so there was a stage, and the dance floor was right at the foot of the stage, and then around the dance floor were love seats so that people could kind of relax, and once they've been on the dance floor and their feet hurt, they could sit down, or they could just sit and watch the band while everybody was dancing. That was a really, really nice touch, and we kind of made this a cocktail party style event, so there wasn't a whole lot of big round tables for people to sit at. There were some. There were 3, actually, just 3 tables for people to sit at. Thanks, Janelle. She says my hair is amazing. Thank you so much. It is a labor of love. Some days it's not so amazing. Okay, let me get back on track. So the lounge furniture was one section, and then we had some tables for people to sit down to eat, and then we had high top cocktail tables in other areas. So the point was so that people would not sit down too much. They had different things that they could do and experience. They could sit and watch the band, they could dance, they could walk around and mix and mingle, they could drink, they had hors d'oeuvres. So we had a lot of different ways that we brought out food So when they first arrived, there was like cheese and fruit stationery with some butlered champagne and hors d'oeuvres. And then in the next hour, we had some stations set up with pasta at one station and sliders at 2 other stations. So they had different types of sliders and pasta. I'm sorry, back up a little bit. Again, when they first walked in, there was also a raw bar. So it was a lot of food, but not like a buffet or a sit-down meal. So they came out in stages, and honestly, I planned this strategically to soak up all the alcohol because I was told that this was going to be a heavy drinking party. The guests were going to be at the bar, and yes, they were at that bar. So the food was coming out so that they would be able to have a variety of things that would not necessarily be a sit-down meal, but they could like pick at it and have it for their drinks. We also had a big dessert table. So the dessert buffet had the birthday cake. It also had cake pops and candy covered strawberries and mini parfaits and chocolate covered pretzels and things like that. So there were lots and lots of things, but not like making people sit down. So that's a way that you can make your party special, is to kind of make a variety of ways that they can still eat, they can still drink, they can still dance, they can still have a seat, but there's just all these different ways that they can do it that they probably weren't expecting. And I will have to say, and others that were there will say that this is true, I have worked at this venue where that party was many, many times. I have never, ever, ever seen it look so good. Yay me. All right. Again, feel free to ask questions because I am here for you. I want to answer your questions, and we actually only have a few more minutes left. So definitely make sure you post your questions so that I have a chance to answer your question. So I'll talk a little bit more about how we're, making your event a little bit different than the last one. And the last tip that I'm going to give you is about signature cocktails. So a lot of times people kind of shy away from an open bar because they feel like it's going to be too expensive. But there is a way that you can limit the open bar and still provide enough for your friends and family to have a great time. So one, open bar does not have to mean top shelf everything, because I even have these friends, but you probably have some friends that will drink all the top shelf stuff at your open bar, but when they go out and they have to pay for these things on their own, they are not buying top shelf, they're buying the house liquor, right? So they're using the opportunity at your party with the open bar to drink all the Hennessy you got on the shelf, right? So you can limit your open bar so that you have beer, you have wine, and maybe 2 signature cocktails. And the signature cocktails can actually coordinate with the colors of your event. They can be named after something that represents you. So maybe it's your birthday party and you're having like a 40 and fabulous birthday party. So one of your drinks will represent the 40 and the other one will represent the fabulous. Or if it's a wedding, you have a his and hers cocktail. So one will be your favorite drink, one will be his favorite drink, or something like that. So signature cocktails are a way that you can offer lots of drinks for free, which is what makes it an open bar, as opposed to the sky's the limit, get everything that you want to drink. So that's my final tip. So I do want to offer to everybody who is watching an opportunity to actually come and meet with me so that we can talk about your special event or your wedding day. I make it really super easy. All you have to do is go to my website, trilogyeventdesign.com. So it's Trilogy, Trilogy, trilogyeventdesign.com. And on the homepage, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a link that says schedule a consultation. Just click there and you'll be able to see my calendar, and you can pick a date and time that works best for you. That I am also available for, of course, but you can pick the date and time that works with your schedule and then come and see me. Another way that we can do this is through, we can do in person, we can do phone, or we can do a video chat. So the video chat will be very much like this Facebook Live, where you can see me and I can see you. So unlike this Facebook Live, I get to see the person that I'm talking to, and we can have our meetings long distance. So I do have a few out-of-state clients that I have the video chats with, and it works amazingly because we still have that connection. We get to have a good time. You can see my facial expression when I say things versus, you know, in a text message or an email and you're not really sure how to interpret what the other person's saying. We can see each other and we can, you know, vibe that way. So hopefully you will schedule an initial meeting with me. It's only 30 minutes, but it's a way for us to get to know each other before we commit to working together, just so that we can make sure that we actually click. So I do invite you all to schedule an initial meeting with me so that we can talk about your wedding or special event, and hopefully we will be seeing each other soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Tell your friends about the replay. Feel free to share it. And I will be back again next week for another Facebook Live at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. Best wishes and unicorn kisses. Bye.